And so the supplemental pay was when you couldn't give that person that 5% raise like we've been able to do, and you can increase them slightly if you're giving them the additional work assignments based on their direction of vision.
Okay.
And that's how we got to it.
Okay, that makes sense. But I mean, but
Dan's withdrawing it on behalf of the auditor's office, but if you look at number 5, it was like, okay, somebody was getting $4,200 in supplemental, somebody else was getting $13,124. Those were being taken away and given to somebody else yet for $17,324. That's just supplemental.
That's a $17,000 add-on to your income, which the question is, how do you justify it? What are they doing to earn an extra $17,000? When the official comes to us during budget time and says, this is what I want this person's salary to be, but yet I'm gonna give them an additional $17,000.
Bingo. I just think maybe Scott, Dan, people, auditor's office, work on it. It's something that, it's not my brainstorm.
Yeah,
It's been
it's gonna take some work. You're gonna have to look at each fund, how it's, what the law says, what you can do.
Charlie's talked about this for a long time. And
yeah, I'm willing to knock our heads together and figure something out if anybody,
Madam Chair, I think this is an important topic of discussion, though, to keep front and center, about organizational, structural,
yes,
defined things, because it's, in all likelihood, we're probably going to see a frozen levy as part of that property tax package.
yeah. Senator White.
I know that I think it's the House version of it's going back to the Senate next week. So it's getting down to the wire, and there's going to be something that's going to have an impact on us. So I think we've got to look at all the fundamentals and say, where do we have opportunities here to tighten things internally to still be able to maintain forward.
yeah, that makes sense. Just from your explanation, it seems as if maybe this process of supplemental fund is maybe stale because we're in a better position, we're past the reduction, not the elimination, obviously.
I'd rather personally have to pay time and a half if you're doing the work and you're putting in the time. I would rather that person. I think everybody needs to be paid, not given more time off.
Sure.
Right.
And that,
You're getting money, right? You can earn a living.
Absolutely.
Good job.
Make it.
and that's actually,
Some people like time off.
Maybe 10, maybe.
yes, I mean, that's,
I thought it would be worth mentioning and
Exactly.
if Scott and Jan and some folks could look at it and present us some ideas and how it could work. I just think it's a good idea.
I think it would help keep transparency for the make it clean. Where the money is coming, who's receiving.
Yes. Thanks, Steve.
awesome.
Thank you.
I think that,
David, you're up.
Morning, everyone.
Thanks for allowing me the time to come before you today. Our first, I guess, letter A, create new line items, order some other addendum. This program grant, we're asking to create a new line item. Food Fund 8126. And put into other equipment. It's a reimbursement grant fund, so this money will be reimbursed exactly the amount requested. They can't pay this out until we submit the payment to them for the bill. So we're requesting appropriations of $2,616.84. And this is to be used for additional equipment for our new autopsy table. Very important that we get this done and license and allowed by the grant program. This is through the Indiana State Health Department. Work with we get up to about $5,000 grant every year. So we'll be taking about that here in a second. The appropriation, which I mentioned. C, create new line item, equipment repair. We were told by purchasing that we can no longer use that particular line item So we need to create a new line item, equipment repair. This is to pay for invoices for actual, X-ray machines, copiers, overhead doors, things that are, needing repair and maintenance throughout the year. So we have to do that. Ask me permission to do that. And then the last item in e-ordinance is what we're requesting to do at this time. Every year we're trying to refine the office in terms of the way we work, efficiency and everything else. My administration basically is myself, my chief deputy, my administrative assistant, and chief investigator. This position, chief investigator, we are eliminating, or would like to eliminate. And use those funds to bring in a second pathology technician. We're asking that to add to our list of staff to have a pathology technician 1 and a pathology technician 2. Obviously, the path tech 1 would be the senior pathologist who's been there many years. Her pay is a little different from the new position or entry level position for pathology technician 2. It's very important that so we had 2 path technicians. We've been working with our senior pathology technician, who's awesome, does an outstanding job, but we're burning her out pretty good. And I would like to add that second one, which we always had, but when I came back in office, that.
Madam Chair.
Yes, go ahead.
Dave, one real quick question. Has something changed since budget time? I mean, that, the type of work, the draw of the need is why you were doing a reorg. We just started this, yeah, we're gonna be budget time there in 6 months. I'm not wishing summer away, but it hasn't gotten here yet.
Volume of work has been a toll on the office, no question. But we move forward every day and do a great job, and we've got some fantastic staff.
So I guess what I'm getting at is that this is something you feel to continue on, get through the summer season, get through this, that you couldn't wait to do a reorg at the end of the year.
No,
That was my
I
question.
really need to get this done. We need to train that person. We do have another investigator in the office that serves as a path technician when she's needed, or when the other path tech is vacation or a day off or whatever. We don't just stop autopsies because she's not there. We also have trained one of our investigators to be a path tech as well. But that's the other items is pay raises for 2 senior medical legal death investigators, requesting for the longest serving medical legal death investigator at $750 up, and the other investigator who is also senior, $500 bump. The reason why I want to treat them a little more special. They are trainers in my office. They attend a lot of the courses that we teach in with colleges, high schools, like NILEA. It's the Northwest Indiana Enforcement Academy. So they do some additional work for the office and preparation and just being out there doing a good job on behalf of the coroner's office in Lake County. The other 2, case coordinator, and I'm asking for an increase of $2,500 and my administrative assistant $1,500. I know these are looked at individually. These funds would be transferred from the existing position of chief investigator after the Path Tech 2 pay. I was using some of those other funds to ask for an increase in pay in those other positions. That's all I have right now.
Madam Chair, I did speak with Porter about this. I do have a question about like the chief investigator position, the entry level medical death investigator position. Why are they there? They're not needed.
Why is who there if they're not needed?
Why are the positions there and able to be reduced to zero?
When I reorganized, when I came back in office, and I was aware of an individual who was working for a medical examiner's office, she did say relocating here and knowing his experience during that reorganization, he felt the need for that and thought the chief investigator position. He was overseeing all the investigators and helping me reorganize the office.
When's the last
He
time that
left,
position
he
was
left to
filled?
go to another medical examiner's office in another state.
When's the last time that was filled, Dave?
It's about a year ago. Position has been open for a year and we've been able to conduct business quite
What about
well
that,
without that position.
What about that entry level position?
Pathologist technician?
Oh, the one that's being cut, the entry level med death investigator. There's two.
Yeah, well, no, because we're asking to be renamed. So we're taking the Path Tech 1 is a medical legal death investigator senior position. And that reflects the pay and her title and pay. So we're transferring her from the MDI to pathology technician.
Essentially, we're turning the chief investigator position into Path Tech 1,
Path Tech 2.
and the other one, the entry level, will be Path Tech 2 as far as
Correct.
matching up.
Right. From the chief investigator.
And what we talked about, you know, when we're in the middle of the year or quarter of the way through it, you know, employees come to you for raises and stuff, and the word no is still a good word to use sometimes. We've got to be more disciplined with this stuff. You know, people, I get it, the county's not the highest paying organization in the world. But I think some discipline is going to really be necessary going forward. We're going to see some major changes here in the structure of local government over the next couple of years. So I'm going to keep talking about this because our next council meeting after this one will be after the session closes. We're going to know for sure where we're going to land, and it could be some drastic steps that need to be taken. So I support what you're doing on the reorg. I think that, you know, if that helps to execute the job, which your job is an emergency-based job, you don't know the volume you're going to get. It's an extremely important job. I'm not as comfortable with the mid-year raises as the reorg.
I understand.
When you are living within your budget, you're not asking for any additional. Any other questions for the?
And actually, looks like reducing his budget slightly. So he's doing it responsibly. I'm just thinking, I'm going to support what you're going to do on that. But
Money on the table.
you've got to be a lot more disciplined with this stuff.
Any other questions?
Sure.
Yes.
You might have a better idea, been here a while, longer than I have. An unwritten, no offense, Dave, but you're doing a wonderful job. There's an unwritten rule that Tom will know. You could reorg, every office holder that came in could reorg one time.
Yes, that was an unwritten rule. That when a new elected official or department head came in, that they had that
They
opportunity.
had an opportunity to reorg within their budget. I know Dave always has done a great job, although this term than the previous one, but yeah, I see the auditor's office was looking for a reorg, which is withdrawn, and then Dave has, and I'm going to support it. But you got to stop reorganizing all the time.
The reason I think we did it, I could, Madam Chair,
Yes.
I know when Usually it was when the new elected official came in because they were living on, they had operated an entire year otherwise under the previous office holder's budget. So it's only fair thing to give them an opportunity or decent thing.
Yeah, wasn't it typically one time to usually,
One time.
all right.
Yeah, I'll echo what Dave said. I think you do an outstanding job. Best in the state, in my opinion. But, and you do a great job of keeping things budget neutral. But we're gonna be definitely facing challenges, so I wanna make sure we're collaborating on this and working together to, meet the needs of your office and the level of staff that you need from a skill standpoint, while, being able to still maintain that fiscal that is gonna be required of us even more so than what it is now.
And you're not the first to ask for this. They've done this for years. Mid-year reorganizations and
I mean, yeah, the title,
being a position and not giving back and
the titles are
spreading
different.
it around.
The title is different. I'm doing a lateral move from the senior investigator to Tech, and I think it's proper that we identify her correctly, seeing the position that it is. And then the second, I guess, could be under the term of reorganization. And it's always something, and, you know, I mean, all I can do is present it to you. And
But Dave,
understand.
You see, does Councilman Lindholm, do you have any questions for the coroner? Harris?
Nope. No, I'm good.
Okay,
I mean, my only comment is, and obviously we'll get to it when budget time comes. It'll be very interesting to see what the state legislature does for us in the next month here, and we'll see what kind of decisions we have to make, like Randy said.
all right, anything else? Thank you.
Thank you, Dave.
See you Tuesday, I guess. All right, next, Public Township. Review.
Put you here to do money transfer from my overtime budget to other professional services. We have some software that all the assessors use. I got an email from the assessor saying it's time to pay that bill. The rest of the assessors probably here in the next meeting to do their transfer, so we're just so efficient there. Something we do. So we're lower.
Madam Chairman, I'm having full support of these as they come, and about this. And I know you guys have your meeting at 3 p.m. today with New Chicago. Councilman Brown, you're going to attend it, but good luck with all that. Lino could be back in front of us looking for a place to lease. There's talk of building a new building in New Chicago. The meeting today, they'll decide if that's going to happen. If not, then possibly talking to Mayor Josh, maybe Maria Reiner Center or something. We can.
That's the time.
In Lake County Solid Waste District, they have a big office building. I mean, they're in Maryville right here.
Okay.
Oh, it has to be in the township?
Yeah. So,
It's for relief too, and assistance, not just for the assessor.
Yeah,
and the,
easy
but we
access.
also have the.
as the county, we're only the renter, so we don't have
Maybe
a say
Ross.
it's gonna happen at 3 o'clock, so
Yeah, just the renter.
spectators.
Well, I mean, a decision whether or not you're gonna, sure, which might be in front of us. I guess my point is asking for approval of the lease, and that would be in the Chicago, if they get the building and build it, the new municipal, which is Silver Township.
Fingers crossed. Thank you, Council.
All right. Ross Township?
Good morning.
We're just requesting a new line item and then a transfer to that line item for gas for our vehicle.
Madam Chair, they were able to get a vehicle. I talked to Angela, and in the budget, they never had a vehicle prior, so, right. That's the reason for creating a new line item transfer.
So vehicle useful.
to go out and field inspect.
Any other questions?
Treatment is a walk from your shop, they
All
got
right, criminal courts.
We can find cars that operate on Sherry.
First time I've heard of.
all the methane from the cows.
Sure.
I got it. I think that's how.
Okay. Criminal courts. Anybody online for criminal courts?
I know the first part might be any problems. That's everybody's 144 in regards to a probation officer, which the salaries are set by the state. And,
I think the councilman has reviewed it last month, and there was a advertising.
so I'm in support of both A and B. One's a savings, one's a grant.
Any questions? Okay, next, Superior Court, for one.
But
Good morning. Here we get this on behalf of Judge Shirley. Judge is not asking for any money from the general fund. We're requesting to create a new line item and appropriation supplemental adult appropriation fund in the amount of $5,000, which is self-funded. And I'm also here to represent our Legos department. So we are requesting a transfer $10,000 from professional to part-time to cover the part-time staff for the year 2020.
I'm gonna have to talk to Judge Shirley on the phone, and she's spoken, and I'm good with both that and.
All right, any questions? Needles?
Oh, and that was.
That was needles, sorry. Thank you. Room 3.
Morning. So asking to create an ordinance for, we've been, the Lake County Veterans Court's been named an all rights mentor for the next 2 years. And with that comes, thank you, with that comes, I guess, $1,000 stipend. So we're asking for a fund to house that money. We're not quite sure what line item to do. We don't know from this packet, but we can.
100% grant, so I told Judge Cantrell I have no problems with it.
Any questions? All right, thank you.
Andrew.
Morning. 13 is everything under 13 is all grants. First one is appropriation and public court grant. This is for public defender and the benefits. 6,000 is pay and then reduction for corporate finance reduction. 852 for the PERP, which is 7311. 13B is to create a new line for public court grant, food and lodging. Transfer from the public court fund. Other services charges $7,117.81. To other services, $6,117.81. Food and lodging, $1,717.80. D is create a new line item for the Lake County Superior Court Mental Health Problem Solving Court. And it's other supplies, which will be transferred from other services and charges, 5,500 to other supplies. And the F is the juvenile community corrections grant. We want to transfer some factual services, 5,572, travel meals, 150, travel and lodging, 1,362, travel transferred other, 345, and I'm sorry, 345. Travel mileage, travel mileage, 1,340. To other supplies, 8,769. 13G is 2 renewals. Lake County Vote Court, renewal application, and Lake County Family Recovery.
On E and F, all you have on both items, you have money going in other supplies, money going other supplies.
I can't back to the dealer's plan, but I can get that answer.
Two different accounts, I think, they were, the
Yeah.
grant fund is
One's,
91 and 9355, but I'm not sure which one.
correct. Exactly, correct.
I can get that.
Thank you.
You asked the question I was gonna ask. Mr. President.
And the supplemental pay is that to one person
And it's for the, that's for the
in a,
public benefit.
All right,
you have questions? Thank you. Elections? Good morning. Good morning.
I'm going to start with something that's not even us. I saw the surveyor's office is getting the platinum achievement for GIS. I want to say congratulations to them, and it's also congratulations to the board for the funding you guys put into that, and know that their layer only helps the other offices like the election board. And it helps with our maps. So great job to them, and great job to you guys for helping funding, I'm sure, on that division. We're here today requesting to pay $300. It's an outstanding bill, or outstanding checks, I should say, from 2022. The checks were returned to us. We gave them to Rise Church for 3 polling places. We have the attached checks that they returned to us. I have no idea how they lost them, but they had lost them, just covered them and came back and asked if we could reissue the checks because they are out of date. So it was no error on our part. It is simply they lost it and asked them to be paid.
I'm okay with that.
Also, just as an FYI, we mentioned to you before that we have the early voting for 2 public questions that'll be on the ballot in May. Voter registration is on 4/7 for anyone who lives in the Crown Point School Corporation or Over School Corporation. And then early voting is going to start at our 3 locations starting on 4/8. So if anyone lives in those areas or needs to vote, come on and see us. Thank you.
I do have one. President said,
Yes.
yeah, this might be open up a little bit of a, open-ended question for Scott, but do we even have the ability, if there's checks that haven't been cashed from 3, 4, 5, who knows how many years ago, to like look at that list of what's out there?
The auditor's office would. Process.
Right,
Good question.
I mean, we reconcile. Yeah, 6 years.
We'll look into that. Good question.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks.
Planning Commission, morning, Ned.
Hi, Ted.
You have before you an ordinance number 2584, for a zone change from B1 to B3 to the property locations on 44th and Park, right in that vicinity. Gentleman wants to establish a landscaping business. Comes to you from the Plan Commission with a vote of 5 in favor, 2 opposed. With 3 conditions: landscaping and snow removal business only, storage of items related to landscaping and snow removal business exclusively, and any change in the use of the property must come back from the Planning Commission and Council for.
And I made that motion with those conditions because it's located directly across the street from residential areas. So I felt on it to make sure that you didn't have a B3 zone, which is a very wide usage zoning district, being applied in a residential area in a way that wasn't specified in the public hearing process. So that's why we did what we did, and I support that.
Just one quick, so the 2 oppositions, it was primarily just that they didn't want it in front of the neighborhood.
They never really gave a reason. The vote came up, they just voted.
Well, one person said they wanted to oppose me just to be a pain in my rear end, which is part of the fun. Right? The camaraderie of government.
It's that big opposed.
But
So Randy,
I don't know if they didn't want any conditions or restrictions. I don't know that, but to me, when you have a B3 use in a residential area, it's important to have some very clear guardrails so you don't have abuses of the B3 zoning district taking place that disrupt people's lives.
The name seems familiar is what I'm saying. Is this been ongoing? Were they trying to do something a while ago with that?
Not to my knowledge, the first time he's applied. Yeah, not to my knowledge.
Any other
It's
questions?
the same scenario.
Councilman Lindebaugh, any other questions?
No, just to clarify, because it goes in and out a little bit. Randy, you said that it was favorable to B3, but with some restrictions on it, limiting it to what they specifically asked for.
Yeah, it's limiting it to a landscaping and snow removal business, storage for landscaping and snow removal business. What was the third again? I can't remember.
If they change.
Yeah, and if the business sells or changes, it has to come back in front of the plan commission for consideration due to those restrictions.
Okay.
As asked by the council, those conditions need to be reported in the form of.
Okay. I'm good.
Thank you.
Thank you. County Sheriff.
Hi, we are requesting to apply for the Comprehensive Highway Injury Reduction Program, also known as the TIRP grant. There's 5 different categories in this. The Click It to Live It, impaired driving task force stop arm violation enforcement project, motorcycle high visibility awareness project, and the non-motorist safety project. There is a 20% match on this, and it would be used for officer overtime.
That matches within your budget.
Yes, that's what I would ask, that you don't move beyond what you're already appropriated. If it's like, it's gonna cost an additional cost of overtime, then it's to be considered.
What specifically, what specific activities would be focused on in reducing highway?
I can tell you that quite frankly, since I've been here, when we have an increase in problems, especially in South Lake County, along the state line with overweight trucks coming across the state line, we have speeders running across there.
Are you talking about my trucks, chief?
It's difficult for us based on our available manpower to deal with this. We're hoping to really focus on that. And it's a big deal too with a lot of the schools now, new schools in that particular area. We have a lot of folks that have absolutely no respect for the safety of the children. We have a big problem with school bus on all of these things. We do have a traffic unit, and they're gonna have more opportunities to allow other officers that are also outside our traffic unit to be involved in traffic enforcement. And it's across the county, but I would say our largest problem is in South Lake County, specifically in the state.
Should, is there a component of this for distracted driving too?
Cell phone, you mean?
Yeah, cell phone usage, distracted driving.
Yes, I think that, frankly, we're very blessed. We have an officer that came to us from the Bldg department, been a traffic officer for several years. Officer Randy Chavez, who put this, done the same program at the city of Hammond. And he's going to be involved in some of the training and education. And you're absolutely correct. So many of our car accidents that no one says were distracted drivers were in fact people running their cell phones, continue to insist on holding their cell phones in their hands while they're operating motor vehicle. So it's really all of those things, including the education part, letting people know what are the ramifications of their actions, which involve injuring and often killing people. We're seeing an uptick in some fatals as well as in the South County areas.
By the way, all of my overweight permits for those roads are up to date and certificates of insurance are with the highway.
I'm keeping a close eye on this.
Appreciate your diligence.
All right, any other questions? Councilman Lindebalder? All right, thank you. Park and Recreation. Morning.
Morning. We have a request for approval of a grant with the Delta Institute. It's for around $500,000. They're planting trees, doing restoration of an oak savanna just south of, on the southern part of Oak Ridge Prairie. Our match is $15,000 of in-kind service. So we've worked with them before and will benefit. This is part of an area that we're also working with the DNR, some others to restore a wetland on this farm that we had purchased.
for which we'll receive, well, the group will receive payments for credits, and then they're gonna pay us for the use of our land, and we'll have the 70 acres of restored wetlands when it's all done.
Any questions?
Good luck, guys, but do you need me on Tuesday?
We are gonna meet after this meeting.
Yeah, I'll stick around.
And if you wanna wait here, am I?
I can, so
I'd like
Tuesday,
to speak to you too for maybe.
I'll be here for Tuesday. Thank you.
Health Department. Morning.
I just want to introduce Rose. She came along with me because she is the one who manages our emergency preparedness grant. So I just wanted to bring her along to answer any particular questions you might have.
All right.
We're just requesting to transfer within the fund. My predecessor had an idea of how funds were going to be spent for this fiscal year. This grant ends in June of 25. So just moving some monies around to more accommodate what our needs are.
Any questions?
So what are the healthcare and lab supplies and other equipment?
Yeah, perfect. I'm glad you asked. You want to go ahead?
So we're moving funds to the healthcare lab because we're trying to purchase coolers for vaccines. So if we need to go out into the public like we did in COVID, that we have the proper temperature and guidance that's approved by the state to have those vaccines moved to those appropriate point of distribution areas. We haven't had those, so I want to buy those for at least 6 locations that we possibly open up. So we would have them at the ready. That's preparedness, is to make sure that they're there when we need them.
What sorts of uses might, is it flu vaccines or just?
It depends on whatever comes out, this time it was COVID, and we don't know what other kinds of vaccines we might need. I know possibly we could use them for other things, but they're primarily focused on whatever outbreak comes out, whether, I don't know how they're going to be stored, whether those refrigerators.
It could be
ready.
for flu or for any time.
So it's not a service that's gonna be offered like, because you now have that mobile.
Right.
Yeah.
That we would use in an emergency, would potentially use the mobile unit in an emergency, but these are additional coolers to ensure we have proper storage in the numbers that we might need.
Madam Chair, I was just curious, because I've, a lot of reading, a lot of things coming down the pipe about the outbreak of measles and all these crazy things going on in this country. So I was just curious, if you have anything to share with us, have we had any reports in Northwest Indiana or in Indiana or in the region, in the tri-state area?
So far, Lake County,
Yeah.
we're looking okay, but you're absolutely right.
Texas has been pretty,
It's been pretty active. There have been some cases on our bordering states, both Michigan and I believe Illinois. So it is definitely a potential to come here to Lake County.
good.
We're prepared.
Sheila reached out to me. She would like to give an update on some of the health department services they're providing. Would you like to see that done at the council meeting on Tuesday?
Okay, can I ask,
I'll place it on the agenda.
so the coolers, which line item is that under, the healthcare and lab supplies or other?
Correct. Under healthcare and labs, there's also full packs that I would be purchasing too. If we ever had to do injections or whatever that in the past, people needed food, ice packs. And there's
schools are.
Yeah, everything. Correct. Yeah, and also first aid kits to be supplied at these point of distribution areas.
So then is that the other equipment or?
No, that's all under the under the healthcare.
Okay, what's under the?
Other equipment, we're doing tents for if we're gonna have to be on the outdoors, that we have tents to supply to where people can come through, drive through. So it protects the people that are working if we're outdoors. So, and the weights that have to go along with those. We also have under other equipment, laptops, software, and battery backups for the laptops. And also a
What software? Because I know software goes obsolete after a while, so.
right, but for the laptops in order to work, they have to have Windows. I'm not an IT
Oh,
person.
okay, just an
It's
operating.
that software.
Basic operating software.
we expecting something? Seems like there's a heck of a lot of preparation here right now.
That's hitting an emergency, right? You gotta be prepared. You gotta be
It's always proactive. It's never, we're never trying to be behind the eight ball. We always have to be ahead of it and ready.
Is any of this Health First Indiana funds, or are these just the general public health?
This is specific to a public health emergency preparedness grant. So this is, if we don't utilize this grant, like I said, that it ends in 2025.
So all of my money that I've used is always the grant money. So it's nothing that's the county or the county's used. It's always the grant money that they give us every year that we try to use in the most effective way.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Which one of you called me?
That was me.
Thank you.
Of course. All right, good.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
She took.
Thanks, she's a lot less nervous. She smiles more. Yeah, I do like it.
All right, library board, where's there?
I think that's, Chris, I think that's Whiting. If I remember right, that was Whiting.
Oh, okay, yeah,
That's your.
yeah, that's me. Do you have something you'd like to? Are you just
I
came to
just came to
visit?
visit. I haven't had an opportunity to do so all year, so,
Oh,
yes, I just came to visit.
See what you've been missing.
So much.
Ray, you got anything for us? Scott? Nobody? All right, thank you. See you Tuesday.
Have a good rest of